more repression.
And so if we leave it up to them, what they're going to do is they're going to tinker with the system. They're not going to do the sort of change that we need to see as a country to get us out of this mess. And they're certainly not going to go backwards and fix the mess that they've made because they're not ready to make that admission. But as a country, I don't think we've ever been ready to make the admission that we have steamrolled through entire communities and multiple generations when you think about things like slavery and Jim Crow and all the other systems of oppression that have led us to where we are today.
So much fun. I love it. I love it. We having a good time? USA, USA. Knock the crap out of him, would you? Seriously. Get him out of here. In the good old days, this doesn't happen because they used to treat them very, very rough. And when they protested once, you know, they would not do it again so easily. I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you. I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. That's true.
Knock the hell out of that big mouth. The next time we see him, you might have to kill him.
In the good old days, they'd rip him out of that seat so fast. Shut up! Shut the hell up!
No, I would not shut the hell up.
Get the fuck out of here, man. Get out of here. In the good old days, law enforcement acted a lot quicker than this. A lot quicker.
And we're going to enforce the law, and Americans should remember that if we're going to have
I am the law and order candidate.
We thought, I mean, they called the end of slavery Jubilee. We thought we were done then. And then you had 100 years of Jim Crow, terror, and lynching. Dr. King, these guys come on the scene, Ella Jo Baker, Fannie Lou Hamer, we get the bills passed to vote, and then they break out the handcuffs. Label you felon, you can't vote or get a job. So we don't know what the next iteration of this will be, but it will be. It will be. And we will have to be vigilant.
I'm a prison cell, 6x9, living hell, stone wall, metal bars for the guards in jail. My nickname, the can, the slammer, the big house. I'm the place many fear, cause there's no way out.
The Bureau of Justice reported that 1 in 3 young black males is expected to go to jail or prison during his lifetime, which is an unbelievably shocking statistic.
Black men account for roughly 6.5% of the U.S. population. They make up 40.2% of the prison population.
We now have more African Americans under criminal supervision than all the slaves back in the 1850s.
The prison industrial complex relies historically on the inheritances of slavery.
The 13th Amendment says no involuntary servitude except for those who have been duly convicted of a crime. So once you've been convicted of a crime, you are in essence a slave of the state.
The stroke of a pen is not self-enforcing, and so while the 13th Amendment is hailed as this great milestone for freedom and abolitionists celebrate, and this is the end of a lifelong quest, the reality is much more problematic. Well, once that clause is inserted in there, it becomes a tool. It's there. It's embedded in the structure, and for those who seek to use this criminality clause as a tool, it can become a pretty powerful one because it's privileged. It's in the Constitution. It's the supreme law of the land.
Throughout American history, African Americans have repeatedly been controlled
through systems of racial and social control that appear to die, but then are reborn in new form tailored to the needs and constraints of the time. You know, after the collapse of slavery, a new system was born, convict leasing, which was a new form of slavery. And once convict leasing faded away, a new system was born, a Jim Crow system that relegated African Americans to a permanent second-class status. And here we are, decades after the collapse of the old Jim Crow, and a new system has been born again in America, a system of mass incarceration that once again strips millions of poor people, overwhelmingly poor people of color, of the very rights supposedly won in the civil rights movement.
And so instead of talking about it, we just tried to move on. After the Civil Rights Act was passed and after the civil rights laws, we tried to play it off. And because we didn't deal with it, that narrative of racial difference continued. And it turned into this presumption of dangerousness and guilt that follows every black and brown person wherever they are.
Ferguson was not simply about Mike Brown. It was also this pattern of mass criminalization and mass incarceration. There was an average of 3 warrants per household in Ferguson. And so people rose up because they understood that they were also enemies of the state, seen as enemies of the state. The communities in which Black people live or really become occupied territories, and Black people have become seen as enemy combatants, right? Who don't have any rights and who can be stopped and frisked and, you know, arrested and detained and questioned and killed with impunity.
We were to look at the largest scale riots that we know of in recent history, from Rodney King to the Detroit riot in 1967, the Newark riot in 1967, Harlem riot in 1964, Watts in 1965. Every single one of those riots was a result of police brutality. That is the common thread.
It would be a mistake to say, as many people do in the current context, that, oh, if you're against the police, then you're against law and order, and these are hardworking civil servants, they're putting their lives on the line for you every day. And, that's true. People who join the police do so, to do these sorts of things. But if you dismiss Black complaints of mistreatment by police as being completely rooted in our modern context, then you're missing the point completely. There has never been a period in our history where the law and order branch of the state has not operated against the freedoms, the liberties, the options, the choices that have been available for the Black community, generally speaking. And to ignore that racial heritage, to ignore that historical context, means that you can't have an informed debate about the current state of Blacks and police relationship today, because this didn't just appear out of nothing. This is the product of a centuries-long historical process, and to not reckon with that is to shut off solutions.
We may have lost the sheets of the Ku Klux Klan, but clearly when you see Black kids being shot down, then obviously we didn't cut out this cancer